Orange Spice, happy Hallow weekend. Hello, ninjas, ninjettes, juggalos, and everyone in between, and welcome to How to Spook Everything So You Don't Have to. I am your ghost, Jesse Kester, and today we are going to go over the 4 main ways that we acquire audio in studio when we are live switching using an ATEM. We're using the ATEM Mini Extreme Pro ISO, but the techniques covered will apply to anything from the ATEM Mini straight up through to the SDI Extreme Pro ISO. The 4 techniques we're going to use are number 1, XLR into the Blackmagic camera, number 2, a lavaliere microphone plugged directly into the ATEM, number 3, a powered stereo microphone plugged directly into the ATEM, and finally, number 4, we're going to talk about plugging a Zoom or similar recorder directly into the ATEM using the line out from that device. There are timestamps in the description below, and we encourage you to skip to the topic that is most interesting to you. All right, let's get right into it so that you can get back to making fantastic movies. The first method we're going to cover for getting audio into your ATEM is XLR microphone being fed directly into a Blackmagic camera. Honestly, any camera with XLR in and phantom power would work fine. We just happen to be using the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. We are using a Rode NTG2, which is a shotgun mic, and like most shotguns, it does require phantom power. If you're using a Blackmagic Pocket camera with an XLR mic and you're not hearing anything, the first thing you want to check is phantom power. To do this, tap the hamburger menu, go to the audio tab, make sure your inputs are set to XLR mic, and then tap phantom on. This is the mic that I usually use for studio recordings, and the nice thing about settling on one shotgun for a fixed studio environment is that the audio will be consistent from video to video. We set the microphone in one place. I speak in the same volume for every video, and we apply the same filters once we are post-processing. Those filters include, but are not limited to, noise reduction, compression, and limiting, as well as file normalization. Until now, you've been hearing the audio of this recording with all filters and normalization applied. Now you're hearing the raw audio with no filters. It has been normalized though. Normalization is the process of finding the loudest transient of a recording and amplifying the entire file uniformly so that said transient is at a predetermined level. In this case, negative 0.1 decibels. There are pros and cons to handling your audio this way. The biggest benefit is that the audio is good. I mean, that will always be the primary metric by a long shot. The next benefit is that it's consistent. You know what post-processed audio is going to sound like before you turn on a single camera. Another benefit to this is that you can have a clean audio stem being recorded to your Blackmagic camera while the ATEM is recording the mixed audio from all inputs. Of course, if you have an ATEM ISO, you can be recording stems at the ATEM level as well. And this is where things can get creative. Our little thought experiment begins with the ATEM software controller. You can record any HDMI input as a stereo feed, and this is shown in the audio tab. If you go down to the lower left and click on the gear, you can bring up your options. From there, click on the Audio tab, and then click on Split Audio. Now you can record any and all inputs as 2 mono files. So, if you have 8 Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K Pros, as always, excellent naming, Blackmagic, you could record 16 discrete XLR inputs with the ability to control EQ, compression, volume, and pan for each input during a live stream. From multi-person podcasting to full band recordings, you can see how powerful this tool set can be. I'm honestly curious what the ceiling on a project like that would be, and you shouldn't be surprised if we test exactly that in a future video. In fact, if you're a member of an 11-piece band based in LA, please do get in touch. That's right, the drummer gets 5 of the mics. Leave complaints in the comments below. That covers the first audio input technique that we use with the ATEM. The second one is quite a bit simpler. What I'm going to demonstrate for you now is how to set up a lavaliere input. To make sure that the deck isn't stacked in favor of the mic, I'm using the cheapest lavalier microphone that we ever take to shoots. This is an Audio-Technica lavalier, and it goes for about 30 bucks. This is the bottom of the barrel, and we only use it for guide tracks, never for production audio. For example, if we're doing an interview, we'll put this on the interviewer so we can hear their questions clearly in post, knowing that we will never broadcast those questions. Before we can turn this microphone on, though, we have to make sure the ATEM is ready for it. To do that, we are going to go to the Audio tab of the ATEM software controller, click on the gear, go to the Audio tab, and from there, go to the General tab. We will set microphone 1 to microphone plus plug-in power. A lavalier like this is very low power, and the signal will need amplification inboard to be heard. If you set the input to microphone or line, you won't be able to hear this even though it technically is a microphone. Now that levels are set, we're going to plug in the microphone. We are also going to plug in a pair of headphones so that we can hear what we're doing. Then we're going to turn off the overheads and turn on the lavalier microphone. And you'll hear that it's absolutely fine. This is the audio with no noise reduction, compression, or limiting. It has been normalized though. If you plug in your lavalier microphone and find that you're not getting any audio, the first thing I would check is that the input levels are properly set on the ATEM. This will come up again for every input technique we demo in this video, so learn where that gearbox is. Every technique we demo, including technique number 3, inputting a powered microphone. The microphone that I'm going to demonstrate is a bit of an oddity. It's the Sony ECM MS957. The reason that I'm using this mic instead of something more common like a battery-powered camera mount Rode is because it's a bit odd. Before we demo this mic, let's turn off the lavalier and turn on the overheads. The first thing you'll notice about this microphone is that it has 3 settings: off, 90 degrees, and 120 degrees. This is a stereo microphone, and we're going to leave it at 120 degrees. The next thing you'll notice is that the LED blinks red to show you that there's power. That's because this is a battery-powered microphone, and the battery is stored inside the microphone. The third thing I want to show you about this microphone is that it has a 5-pin connector, and that connector goes to a stereo mini jack. The other thing that's unique about this microphone is that you can point the capsule forward, or you can turn it on a 90-degree angle. We're going to leave it pointed forward. Before we plug the microphone in and turn it on, we are going to make sure that the board is ready for a microphone level signal. Same as always, it's in the settings menu, audio tab, and general tab. We're going to set mic 2 to microphone input, and then click done. If you can, you should always turn your microphone off before plugging or unplugging it, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We'll turn it off, connect the 5-pin connector, plug the microphone into the back of the ATEM, and turn it back on. Now we're going to kill the overhead mic and turn on the Sony. Now you're hearing audio from the Sony stereo microphone. The first thing you'll notice about this audio is that it's a bit crispy. I've applied no compression and no limiting to the signal, but I have normalized it. Before we move on to technique 4, there's one more thing I want to demonstrate about this microphone, and to do that, I'm going to have to place it in a mic stand. I told you that it's a stereo mic, and I want to highlight that for you. We'll do that by loading up a tone generator and waving it past the mic. If you're watching this in mono, you'll still be able to see how the left and right channels of the mic react differently as the tone passes the capsule. We're back in the ATEM software controller, and I want to direct your attention to microphone 2. And what you'll see is that we have stereo inputs, a left channel and a right channel. As I move this tone back and forth, you will see the left and right channels react differently depending on where the tone is coming from. I think that's more than enough of that. The reason I'm demonstrating this isn't to sell you the microphone, but more to illustrate that the ATEM is capable of full stereo broadcasts, and you should consider that when going into a project. With that in mind, let's turn off the Sony microphone and go back to the overheads. The fourth and final technique is to run a microphone through a recording device like a Zoom. The upside to this method is that you can record clean audio on ISO tracks in a dedicated device. You also have the ability to mix multiple inputs with a bit more finesse, so this is a great technique for things like podcasts. The downside is that the line out from the Zoom is an analog signal, and that means that you are increasing the number of generations of compression and decompression before broadcast. When you feed an XLR microphone into a Blackmagic, it converts that signal to a digital one, and the information remains digital as it moves through the HDMI into the switcher. On top of that, your line feed is going to be transported through an unbalanced cable, and we don't travel more than 24 inches when we're using a headphone-grade cable for audio transport. The risk of signal degradation is simply too great. This means that your dedicated recorder will have to be right next to the ATEM. The mic we're using requires phantom power, and we're going to be feeding this through a Zoom recorder. The first thing we're going to do is unplug the Sony mic cable. Next, we're going to prepare mic 2 for a line level input, and we do that by, you know what? You know how to do this. If you look at the readout on the Zoom H6, you will see that our Sennheiser microphone is making good noise as well. So we're going to go ahead and plug the mini-to-mini into the line out jack. Line out connected, fantastic. And plug the other end into the ATEM Mini. Now we can turn off the overheads and turn on the Sennheiser MK4. Straight away, it sounds soft, and that's fine. All we're doing is confirming that the signal is being delivered and that it's clean. For now, we're going to turn off the Sennheiser and turn on the overhead mics. The reason it's okay that the signal is so soft is because I want to demonstrate the basics of equalization and compression at board level. When we're acquiring signal, we want it to be as true to what the microphone read as possible. We want the source signal free from equalization, compression, and limiting. That doesn't mean that we want the broadcast signal to be raw, and the ATEM offers a very convenient tool set to affect your audio before it goes out to the world. The nice thing about the ISO is that these effects aren't recorded to the isolated audio tracks, only the broadcast track. What we're going to do is switch over to the Sennheiser and then jump into the ATEM software controller. When we're there, we'll add some compression and then some equalization to sweeten my already amazing voice. The reason I'm telling you this in advance is because at first it will be soft. As we add compression, my voice will come back just as crispy as ever. Let's turn off the overheads and turn on the Sennheiser. We are back in the ATEM software controller, and I want to direct your attention to microphone 2. The first thing we're going to do is boost the compression, and we do that by clicking on the dynamics pad and turning on the compressor. Let's set this compressor to a 3-to-1 compression because why not? You're only young once, let's live a little. Then we are going to boost the makeup of the signal, and you can hear that that audio is nice, crispy, and clean. Next, let's adjust the equalization by bringing up our EQ options. This is your equalizer, and the first thing I like to do is roll off the high end, so we're going to do exactly that. The next thing I like to do is boost the bass in my voice, so we're going to grab handle 2 and just kick that up a notch, and maybe do handle 3 as well, and see if we can get some deeper audio. That's what I like to sound like. We'll kill some more of that high end. We're getting a little muffled now, and that's okay. This is strictly for demonstration purposes. All right. Now that you know how to use the dynamics and the EQ tools in the ATEM software controller, let's go back to the overheads. To do that, we're going to turn off the Sennheiser and turn on the overheads. I hope this was helpful in understanding the different ways that you can get audio into the ATEM while in studio. These techniques work whether you're using the ATEM Mini or the ATEM SDI Extreme Pro ISO. Again, Blackmagic, fantastic naming. If you have any questions or found anything unclear in this video, please leave a comment below and we'll follow up if we're qualified to. If you'd like to learn more about who we are and what we do, check out thiuphoto.com, or even better, you could just get back to making fantastic movies.